Hello guys, welcome to my wonderful world of weirdness, in which I now present to you one of my interests that happen to be pretty much a minority in my own country, because this is even a minority in its own country. This is Janggi, more known as the Korean form of chess, the chess that formed into Korea in general. Okay, and I don't know how I actually like this game. I don't know why I know why I like this game, because I like the Korean culture somewhat, and I like chess variants, right? And there are a lot of guides out there already showing you how to play this game, but I plan to make a series out of this, and it's not going to be good if I don't start with a how to play series. Okay, first off, I'm just going to compare this with the more common known form of chess, which is the European variant, or the European chess. Okay, so compared to the European chess, the first is the board. I'm going to introduce you to the board or the pieces first. Okay, these are the pieces practically look different, although they function the same. These are your formal chess characters, while these green pieces right here are your cursive form of the same. Well, not all of them, but generally they're the cursive form of the same pieces that the red army has. Okay, so let's just introduce you guys to the board. Okay, so compared to European chess, this one has 8 by 9 squares, right? 8 by 9 squares, and the main difference there is that we have the fortress. That's going to be important for some pieces later on when I present them, and you will notice that there are big dots in here present also in the almost no difference with the Chinese chess board. And these things are just there so you will know where to put the soldiers and the cannons. Okay, so soldiers on this rank and the cannons on these spots. That's all I know about them. They're just there so you will know where to put their soldiers. Okay, so that's the board. Next are the pieces, right? You don't play inside the squares, you play on the intersections. That's your common Asian style of board games. The game of Go, Asian board game, play on the intersections. That's another main difference of it. Okay, so the board is 9 by 8. There is this fortress, and you play on the intersections. Okay, now let's introduce you guys to the pieces, and don't worry, I will try my best to make you familiar with these things. They might be difficult to memorize right now, but trust me, if you imagine them as icons rather than characters, I don't even know how to pronounce them. Before, I just learned them naturally. Just learning them what it's called works fine. Okay, so first up, let's just introduce you guys to the big botch in the middle. That's the general. That's analogous to the king piece of the European chess. Once you lose it, you lose the game. Automatic. Okay, so the generals move within the fortress lines, meaning you can actually move to a diagonal if it has no lines. So that's your first rule movement of the game. Also, the advisors will be coming up later on. They move the same way. Okay, they cannot escape the fortress. Sometimes I interpret the fortress, because of this limitation, as a prison instead, where the general is actually trapped in his own fortress. But when you look at a battlefield, generals don't actually fight unless there's a really big problem. That's when the generals start fighting. That means you know there is a problem. Okay, so that's the general. Next up, okay, I forgot. The characters here, they have something to do with the Chu-Han contention. This is Chu and this is Han. You don't have to memorize their characters per se because the pieces are of different sizes. The general is the largest, so you don't need to memorize anything in it. It's just the biggest piece. Soldiers, the smallest piece. There's also another small piece, but let's just get this thing on the way. The red soldiers look like a stick figure, right? A head with arms and legs, but it's actually a hat. Well, you can actually imagine it as a stick figure. So that's a small soldier. It moves forward and sideways. So it can be analogous to a pawn, except that this one moves forward and sideways. Okay. And one rule that affects this one is that it cannot promote. It doesn't promote, so once it reaches the end of, let's say, the ranks, it's just limited to moving sideways. Okay? So you do not want it to actually reach the end because it doesn't promote. The next is that by the time it reaches the fortress lines here, reaches the fortress, it can actually pass through, moving forward still toward the diagonal lines. So he can move there, he can move here, right? Let's just move our general out of the way. Oh, there's our rule there. I'm going to introduce the generals that if they face each other, the other player has to move away. Okay, so that's it. Soldiers, they don't capture diagonally just like in European pawns. They capture the way they move, forward, sideways, and within the fortress lines, right? He's in check and needs to run away and whatever. Now he's mated. Okay, so that's the soldier piece. Oh yeah, green soldiers, they look like a flag on a stick, a banner, or a standard, so to speak. See that? Looks like a flag on a pole with watery icons. That's the soldier piece. Next, the advisors or your guards. I prefer to call them advisors. Yeah, they're your fortress piece. Moves just like a general along the fortress lines, and it's purely a defensive piece. Just so you can think of them as a queen. No, not really. But they're the closest thing because in the battlefield, generals are guided by advisors, not queens. Queens do not belong in the battlefield. Kings don't belong in the battlefield as well. Generals do, although their task is to stay in the fortress commanding every other pieces they have to war. Next are your chariots. Now your chariots, sometimes they are translated as carts, whatever. Just think of these icons as a top view of a chariot, where these spokes right here are your wheels, and the thing in the middle is the round carriage or something, driven by a big, what do you call that? Driving a nail through everything, so everything will stand out. And the cursive form, just the same thing. Your wheels and pure spokes. The carriage is gone. It's simplified. It's cursive. What can we do? So it moves just like your standard rook. Okay, it's pretty much your rook, except that when it comes to the fortress, it can actually move within the fortress lines. Okay, so that's another thing. It's another piece that's being affected by the fortress. So that's why the fortress is very important in this game. Okay, so you can move within the diagonal lines of the fortress and then moves just like a standard rook, just like always. Next, what's next? The horse. The horse moves just like the European knight, except that one space forward, space diagonal, except that it can actually be blocked. That means since there's a piece right here, it cannot move here. That's the only limitation of the Korean horse. It's not really a knight, but okay. You can call it a knight since it moves just like a knight, captures like a knight, but it can be blocked. Okay. Next. Oh, what does these things look like? Sorry about that. 4 dots, 4 legs of a horse galloping. You know, that 5th leg, however that's happened, and the cursive form, the flowing hair of. It looks like a seahorse because it has the flow of speed of hair, and only the tail is only included there. Yeah. So that's what they look like. Next piece is the elephant. Now it's very difficult to picture this one, but we can safely assume that these are the ears and these are the tusks, and maybe this is the trunk, and the thing goes in here. Some say that the bottom part is the trunk, but yeah, it's the only thing that I can actually copy when I was trying to scribble it down. You would find some guides. The cursive form is just difficult. Well, the formal thing is also difficult as well. Okay, how do they move? Just think of it as an extended knight's move. 1 space forward or orthogonally, and then 2 spaces diagonal. This is the most confusing set of moves if you're not used to this type of game. You just have to get used to it. Okay, so, and also it can be blocked. So even in the diagonal, it can be blocked. So see that? It cannot move here, but when I move my general out of the way, then it can move there. Okay, it might sound stronger than your typical horse, but it's actually weaker because of that limitation, right? So that's how your standard elephant moves. 1 space here and then 2 space diagonally. The elephant. Next, okay, the cannon. The cannon has no really analogous role to any Western counterparts of the chess, but think of it as a rook or something. It moves like a rook, except that it has to jump over a piece just for it to move, whether it be friend or foe, mind you. Okay, what do I mean by that? Let's see. Okay, so see this screen? It cannot jump over 2 pieces, by the way. It has only have to jump over 1 piece, and then every space right here is available. Same with this guy. And just like in this case, I will try to move. Only these 2 spaces are available for the cannon because the intervening piece is right there. Okay, that's how it moves. That's how it captures. And one limitation or 2 limitations that I should present here is that even enemy pieces, regardless if it's a friend or a foe, as long as it has to jump or capture. Needs to capture, jump over a piece. Needs to move, jump over a piece. And now for the limitations. Cannons cannot jump over other cannons, be it friend or foe. So like this one, it cannot jump over here because it's a cannon, and can't jump over it because it's a cannon. I think I forgot. Yes, they look like guns mounted on something. Okay, cursive form, a gun mounted on something, just like a cannon. So that's what it looks like. Now, it can't jump over a cannon, friend or foe, and it cannot capture fellow cannons. Okay, so somehow they block each other. I don't know why this limitation was developed, but I kind of like it though. It kind of presents so much tactics and so much strategies, like shall we say, let's just get it. Suppose I move my soldier right here to create a screen to capture that horse right there. A cannon can actually block it. Nope, you can't capture it. You can't capture me, I'm a cannon. That's good. Or maybe even, just say that's Green's soldier and it kind of got lost in the way. Okay, let's just do this. I plan to capture your soldier. Bleh, I'm gonna block you. Or like that. You can't capture me. Okay? So that's the two limitations, and also it can jump over through the diagonals of the fortress. Kind of sounds silly, right? No, not really. What? Okay, got you. As long as it's not a cannon, it can jump over the diagonals of the fortress once again. So the three pieces that, or aside from the generals and the advisors, the three pieces that are affected by the fortress lines are the soldiers, the cannons, and the chariots. So those are the pieces, right? Almost there, we're almost there. Now before the start of the play, you will arrange your pieces like so, and you get to choose how to arrange your elephants and horses. What do I mean? At the start of the game, or before the start of the game, Red gets to switch the elephants and horses the way he wants. Okay? You cannot actually move an elephant to the other side. You just can actually switch these two locally. So that means in every setup, there are four possible positions in the setup. One is like this. The elephants are in the inside. And number two, the elephants are on the left side in our facing. It's on red side, on red's face, the elephants are on the right. But in our side, you get what I mean. Next, the elephants are on the outside. And the fourth, the elephants are on another confusing point, okay? And in North Korea, I just incorporated it in this one, in my own app, so to speak, that there is a fifth possible setup called, they call it activated chariots, some call it super elephants. It's just arranged like this. The chariots are in the middle, the elephants are really outside there where the chariot should be, and the knight or the horse stays there. Okay, so red gets to choose that, and then choose a position, and then green gets to do the same. Either elephants inside, elephants on the right, elephants on the left, elephants on the outside, whatever, or even maybe in the North Korean variant there is as well, and play begins. Also, green gets to move first. Okay, so you take that advantage, the advantage of green moving first, so red has to choose his setup first. Okay, before green does. That's how the tradition works. Or you just choose not to look at the opponent's way of passing it. Speaking of passing, you can actually make a pass in this game, meaning that there is no such thing as a stalemate. You can draw by keep passing in all of your turns, and also in real life, when you pass a turn, you do that. Flip the general. Flip the general. Okay, you do not make a move, you just flip the general, and that's how they work. And don't worry guys, if you are seeking for a more westernized version of the pieces, I plan to do a tutorial series with the more internationally understandable versions of the pieces. And also I made these so that means there is indeed room for improvement on how I should be doing these internationalized icons just for the more Western players. There are already a lot of Korean tutorials out there knowing how the piece works, strategies, whatnot. And if for my tutorial series, I think I'm going to plan on a more internationalized audience, something like that. And so that's how you play Janggi, the Korean chess. And How this series goes, we'll just see. See you guys next time.